Can you now try? I'm so sorry for the technical failure from my end. It's happened all of a sudden. Can you try, madam? Rima, can you say something so that I can confirm that I am able to listen to you? रीमा जी एक बार कंफर्म कीजिए प्लीज अपनी ऑडियो सो दैट आई कैन कंफर्म अपने एंड से भी कि आप मुझे सुनाई दे रहे हैं. कैन यू से समथिंग हाय हेलो?
Okay, now let's start the interview session. Okay, Conversation with Consultants, episode 32. The only things that stand between you and your dream is will to try and believe that is actually possible. It is a beautiful quote quoted by Joel Brown. So, with this quote, I would like to bring our talk show name Conversation with Consultants, episode 32 of our guest talk series. Good evening, everyone. I am Rima Kumaria, HR Associate and ECR Coordinator of SKNG.
Good evening, everybody. I am Pooja Kumari, HR Associate and OD Coordinator of SK Associates and Group, and we both are your hosts for today's talk show. Before we begin our talk show, let me briefly introduce SK Associates and Group. We are an ISO certified management consulting firm registered under the MSMED Act 2006 with the Government of India. Our mission is to provide consulting services to student entrepreneurs globally, covering areas such as compliance, operations, marketing, research and development, human capital, strategy and operations. Our passion lies in helping these budding entrepreneurs bring their dreams to life and contribute to global economic growth.
Entrepreneurship is a catalyst for change and innovation. It's a powerful force that can reshape industries, transform lives, and make the world a better place. We are committed to supporting student entrepreneurs on their journey, equipping them with the tools, knowledge, and networks they need to succeed.
Now, before we begin our show, let's take a moment to introduce our guest for today. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome Mr. BC Anant, Assistant Professor, Jain University, to this special event. We are truly honored by your presence today, and we are thrilled to have you share this momentous occasion with us. We would like to start this interview. Our first question for you. Now, start. How do you approach course planning and syllabus development of your classes?
Thank you, first of all, and namaskar to everybody watching out there. Thank you for a very kind introduction. And hello to Rima ji and Pooja ji, and of course to my friend Mr. Shravan out there. So, you've asked an important question here, because what happens is what we prepare becomes the course line for the next 3 or 4 years for the students. One has to understand that unfortunately, no matter we are into industry 4.0 and approaching 4.5 and 5.0 in the days to come, we are yet to align a lot of planning of course in with respect to the industry, and that is why we see a lot of humongous amount of valley kind of a difference between the academia and industry. Now, coming back to your question, in order to prepare coursework, having worked with a lot of institutions so far, and with some of the premier institutions as well, the primary thing is to set an objective, right? Set an objective of what you want for that particular course. For example, I'm preparing it for MBAs, MBA in blockchain technology or artificial intelligence, or maybe financial analytics. So you have to see what is happening in the industry currently, right? And for example, if I say MBA in financial analytics, I would first go for something called, first see that blockchain is not the technology of the future, it is happening right now. And we collect those data, and we seek references from other institutions, universities as well, and go on to prepare a structured coursework as per AICTE, as per UGC or NBA norms, based on the institution type that you are working in. For example, for university, we follow AICTE as well as, UGC for a business school, we will follow AICTE plus maybe NBA curriculum or something like that. So we prepare based on that. And of course, you keep adding and scratching. There is a thing called BOS, that is called Board of Studies. I have been very fortunate to be an expert in that just a few months ago. So we do Board of Studies as per UGC. It should be done 4 times at least in an year, and NAC as well. So you do at least twice in a year, and you call experts from the outside, and that is how you prepare the course curriculum. Yeah.
Okay. Moving ahead, next question. Can you describe a teaching method that has been particularly effective in engaging students?
Okay, there are several, but for me, most important thing is until you don't tap into the head of the student, you have to get into the head of the student, and you cannot be, the kind of professor or teacher that one wants to be. There are hundreds of teaching methods, and every individual out there. I don't, I'm not going to judge anybody's, but the primary thing is until you don't let them experience things, you can't teach them. So what I personally do, I'll tell you, is the primary thing is that I discuss my experiences. Along with it, I connect them directly to the real life examples. For example, the very first day I went to my management class, I asked them, what do you understand by management? And they came several answers. Some kids said management is this, some said management is that. So I gave them this example. I asked them a question, how many of you gave 12th boards recently? So a lot of hands got up. And I said, you hiding your phone when your father is coming while watching the Instagram reel is management, or you running away from your mother while she's trying to hit you from the flying chappal is management. All that, making it more of a fun activity than just, the, through and through thing. Plus case studies. Unfortunately, what happens, we often talk of a lot of case studies, but people fail to deliver it. The primary problem right now we are facing, all of us, is that Generation Z has a very, very difficult time focusing and reading. I came across a data which said that, we have gone way lesser focused in terms of Gen Z, and focusing power has reduced even than that of less of a goldfish, which is 0.08 seconds or something. And for that kind of a generation to be taught, one has to understand that without experiential learning, nothing is possible. So I practice experiential learning. Plus, I also bring along a lot of industry experts that I have fortunately been associated to. You might have read my introduction that my team had sent to you. That talk that I have been associated with a lot of ministry projects also. So I bring in a lot of experienced academicians who are senior to me, but are into the part of my network. So yeah, here's your answer.
Okay, your next question is, how do you ensure that your lessons are accessible to students with diverse learning styles?
Wonderful question. See, I'm a tech freak. I have a lot of technology that I incorporate. I make videos myself. I edit them, and I also prepare something, demo websites sometimes for my students. Plus, in order for them to tap into projects, I use the same thing that they use today. That is called Instagram. I try and incorporate them with real life projects. For example, I recently gave them a very interesting video that was made by a very big lifestyle brand. And there's this content creator who makes content on Ganji Chudail. I believe both of you are aware of it, right? The smile would say the rest. So I actually connected those two things and connected my course curriculum or whatever I taught. And I said, now prepare something on this. So what happens is student has to go out and think on to it. I also give them a lot of leverage to try free hands with technology. For them to access my lectures, I use YouTube, I use maybe Canva, I use a lot of graphics, and more or less whenever they have doubt and I am free as per my schedule, I connect them over online portal. Plus books, never forget books. What happens is I have a lot of books. I wish I could have shown you my book collections over there, lying. I also tell them to go through books because books are the best friends for any individual. So these are 4 or 5 things that I use, incorporating technology and artificial intelligence also. Yeah.
Okay, your next question is how do you assess student learning and provide feedback?
Perfect, perfect. Feedback is the backbone of any communication channel. What I have learned over the past so many years, having worked in media as well, media industry for quite a good number of years. I'll tell you what feedback is. Do the goodwills and tell about the achievements in public, and always ensure that when you are teaching them what went wrong, you tell that to them in person, so that you know this is a very very fragile generation of students that we are dealing with today. I tell them the good things in public so that they feel appreciated. And I have this very interesting thing, I keep this always with myself. This is the quota that I have a note of everything that is happening around me in terms of students, in terms of their lifestyle. And I'm going to tell you one thing, that to be a teacher is all about observation, and all about the spectacles that you wear about observation. So I observe things, and wherever I feel that the student is lacking, I try and hop into a positive conversation and percolate that through that. And in terms of course curriculum, I assess them I'm a very strict guy, and I'm hated for that for a long time now. So I am blunt in terms of checking or evaluating whatever assignment is coming. And if somebody is not following whatever the SOPs have been given to them, I straightforward give them a redo. What this does in particular is this gives them a chance to improve themselves and improvise whatever went wrong. And comments in particular, whatever good comments happens, I always write them through, and maybe I also maintain a register as I showed you one. So that is how I do it in terms of personal life as well as curriculum. Yeah.
Okay, moving ahead, next question. Can you provide an example of how you integrate technology into your teaching?
Perfect example. So I told you I'm a technology freak. My PhD is also into going on into blockchain technology with respect to that. The first thing is you do it yourself for your own learning, right? Before you try it on anybody, making them a lab rat, you try it on yourself. So I do this on a very frequent basis. I make some chatbot for students, try and code it through my learnings of AI whatsoever. I'm not a very free-handed coder. I use technology, free technology for that. I give them videos. I make them give them funny videos, and in the end there is a message. Number three, as I said, the chatbot. So I recently made this chatbot called Marketing Monk 005. It's available for free, which had an encoded database of anybody. I'm a marketing guy. So I made them access to entire questions of marketing, or whatever they ask about marketing, they can access it. Retail management, consumer behavior. So I try and incorporate those things, because what happens is we are all very keen to know new things. Okay, let's give it a try. He's done something. So I bring those new things, I hustle at the background, and then give the easy part to the students, like that. Okay, this is the link, you click onto it, and now access to the whatever course curriculum or whatever things you want to do, and they can try, have fun with it, and they can go straightforward as they do it with the chat gpts of the world and meta ais of the world. So that's how I make it technologically very pro for them. And I use a lot of animation also, most of the times. Yeah.
Okay, your next question is how do you handle a situation where a student is struggling with the course material?
Wonderful. One, before answering this, has to understand that in a class of 40, 50, 80, 100, every individual has her or his own journey. And I have been a student, I'm still a student, and I have this written somewhere on my wall that a teacher remains a student for life. एक शिक्षक सदैव एक विद्यार्थी होता है, जीवन भर एक विद्यार्थी होता है. So understand what happens is always categorize your student into category A, B, C, and D. What does that do is you see what is the performance index based on the attendance ratio, based on the curriculums that have been followed in terms of formal curriculums, the co-curricular activities number 3, and the projects or assignments and the level of creativity that they bring into. Based on that, you can identify the novelty of thoughts of the student. There is a theory of motivation that talks about X and Y, where X is about the ones who are self-motivated, and the Y's are about who just do it for the sake of doing it. And that is what I follow in terms of teaching, assessing my students. And whosoever requires that certain amount of extra push, I try acting as a father figure for them. See, what happens is what sympathy can't do, emotional empathy, optimistic empathy can. So all you need is to put a ding in that universe of their thought that, okay, let's give it another try. And wherever you fall short, you can just hop into my office or my room or my desk and call me, contact me. I have hundreds of messages today as well. I'm yet to answer to them, unfortunately couldn't so far, that they have a lot of doubts. So I know which student to answer which way, because I told you, right, this journal of mine has everything written on how to access into the minds of which student. It does eventually require a lot of initial effort, because a first week for any faculty joining any institution or any class or cohort, the person should give at least 1 week to a month to identify and observe student. I told you it in the previous answer also. I don't know about others, but I'm a very observant man in every possible term, and I know what happens in their personal lives and professional lives as well as the student life as well. So they are more of a friend to me, more of a family to me. As and when required, I am more of a faculty to them, and that is how I assess them as in required and push them wherever required. Yeah.
Okay, what strategies do you use to foster student participation and critical thinking?
Wonderful. Surprises. I love surprises. I don't get many. I can count the total number of surprises I've gotten in life, but the better way to as you said, to indulge people is to give them surprises. What kind of surprises? Surprise quizzes, surprise tests, surprise case study discussions, or surprise video discussions. And I've always been a firm believer of the fact that if I'm dealing with Gen Z, I am going to be acting as a Gen Z. It is a tough task. I have started to lose my hair on that note. But and if you're working with a generation prior to that, you have to act like that generation. And in order to indulge them, you need to teach them a lesson that, look, what happens, you cannot always be working with your comfort zone. So I always try to push people into such groups where there are disagreements of thoughts, where there are disagreements of conceptual understanding between each other, and then ask them to prepare something for the sake of marks. Of course, initially they'll do it for the marks, but one point they would understand, no, there's no escape out of it. So I indulge them with creativity, with fun, with such activities where they're not comfortable with each other, but they have to understand that when you get into the industry rips you in every possible way, up, down, back, front, back, center, everywhere around. So that's how I indulge people around. Yeah.
Okay, moving ahead, next question. Can you describe a time when you had to adjust your teaching method mid course? What promoted the changes?
There was a time when I was a teacher, but not a teacher, fully a teacher. And that was when I was working with my first institution. So I was supposed to be an academic associate who did a lot of teaching assistants. And before that, I had actually been teaching also during my masters and all those courses. My first masters, I had been teaching and taking guest lectures. So what happened was that was the time when I was supposed to suppress myself into a lot of, because the senior professor who has worked 25 odd years, 40 odd years was teaching in front of me, and I was just supposed to assist the person. But the best part was, when you do that, you get that understanding. I suppressed a lot of emotions into that. I cannot be a teacher. I cannot be called a professor today. The next thing that I did was I used to talk to students because there were many who were even elder to me. I remember there was there's this friend come student of mine who was in the same university but was 3 or 4 years senior to me. But I had known her and a few more. So what happened in that situation that I used to discuss things with them in the library. I used to talk about ideas, theirs, my, and in order to teach, since I am not able to formally teach into an institution full-fledged, stretch my wings, I used to prepare lectures, video lectures, doubt lecture, clearance lectures, and used to discuss such topics which were just a part of it, and then prepare an entire lecture out of it. So these were the things when I actually realized that okay, no matter what, this is a phase of learning. This too shall pass, and I came out as a into with all embellishments on my shoulders by the grace of Paramatma, never to forget the one and only who has been running all my life. So that was the time I actually suppressed myself. And there was another instance when I faced a humongous challenge where the students actually did not understand Hindi as well as English properly. So I had to, break myself down because I have lived in NCR, Delhi NCR for 7+ long years, which is, which has brought me I often talk and get into a lot of hefty words. So I had to cut myself down into very short, simple words that the students, even if I said a very simple Hindi word, because I speak a lot of pure Hindi, students could not understand, right? So I had to adjust in those two situations, but now things have gotten way better in several terms. So yeah, it's a part of a teacher's journey, and I believe डर के आगे जीत है, and the more crunch you have in life, the better you become as a faculty or a teacher. Yeah, over to you.
Okay, it's great. Now your next question is, what research topics are you currently exploring and how do they relate to your teaching?
Okay, wonderful. So I have a very wide, uh, you know, uh, set of degrees and a very vivid kind of teaching that I have done. I've been into fashion and textile as a degree holder. I have 2 degrees in fashion, textile, and communication, plus another one supply chain and operations, and another one in design, that too with a topic of management. So what happens is I have taught fashion, I have taught management, fashion management, and fashion retail management, worked in that industry. And once I got into full-fledged teaching and research, I only have been working on marketing, that to new age marketing for the Generation Z with artificial intelligence. You see, my entire research is on circular economy, artificial intelligence, and now blockchain. So all my papers out there, whatever you read, you will realize that this guy has done these degrees and now he's working on AI. Recently, I was awarded as the Young AI Researcher of the Year. So my researches over the past 1.5 years have purely been into AI, artificial intelligence, the way it is developing consciousness, that is ANI, we also talk about AGI, and ASI, and now I'm exploring blockchain technology, accumulating it with artificial intelligence, and trying to find out the efficient amount of impact it has or significance it has on the industrial prospect of the country. So this is what I've been doing for the last 1.5 pure years. No, nothing else apart from artificial intelligence, blockchain, and of course marketing. Yeah.
How do you balance your teaching responsibility with research obligation?
It is no obligation, Rimaji and Poojaji, I will say. it is a part and it is a responsibility over it, obligation. When you wear the cape of a professor, a teacher, you automatically run into the responsibility of developing a country. Some research it for appraisals, some research it for fun, and I am the one who does it for fun. I I told you, right, my vivid experiences of degrees, and then you see a guy who studied fashion, and before that, I was teaching physics, and I was a science student, and I still teach physics to kids, at least till 11th or 10th or 11th. I can teach till 10th at least purely because I've forgotten 11th and 12th for a long time now. So what happens is when you do research, it's by heart. There's this board, a whiteboard of mine. I again could have shown you. It is full of topics that I'm supposed to scratch onto. I don't find myself, obligated to it. I find myself responsible to do it for the sake of the country and for the sake of the world. Number two thing is you have to understand that all these things that you research might give you appraisals and push, but also gives a way ahead to new kind of technology to be incorporated. Plus, it gives a plus point to the country, Bharat or India at large in the global ranking of research, right? So I divide my time in wherever I feel like. I scratch topics, I read them, I print them. I'm a very hardcore, hard copy guy. So I print whatever I could. I read them, I see videos, and I chat with AI. What are the views of my AI? I've been training a lot of models of AI. I wish we can have this conversation maybe some other day, if by goodness grace. So I do that. Everybody has 24 hours, right? And I told you this journal, if somebody reads it, might get mad. But this is how I work. I function. I sleep. I still. It has been a very long time. Over a decade, I sleep nothing more than 3 odd hours every day. So that first half is teaching. The second half is my other chorus. I have other responsibilities, maybe consulting or others, advising some company, going to such interviews like yours, and my prayers and others. And then the other part comes as research, where I'm reading, I'm watching videos, I'm recording myself, which will never go public, all that. So that's how I do manage. And I sleep less. I would not recommend it to everybody, but yeah, I sleep less. So you have to manage it that way.
Okay, moving ahead, next question. How do you involve students in your research project?
Okay. So from the very first year, I ask, as I said in the third or fourth answer, I don't remember now. I have filtered students. I know who's into the category A, who's into the category B, C, and D, and nothing wrong about any of those categories. Everybody's beautiful in their own way, and they learn with time and whenever the life wants them to. You know, universe's own ways of doing things. Now understand. I have identified a bunch of individuals. Recently, I gave them a research paper as a project. So the fact is that the first thing is that every individual who's a fresher wants something on their backyard. So I asked them a research paper to be written. Now they will require it to be quantitative in nature, or very professional, to look very professional and get accepted. There comes my part, where I have been into practicing of publishing researches. So they eventually write paper. A couple of people have done this, and I'm working on two projects recently, where my students have written paper. Now, my job is to filter it, make it professional, make it super efficient to be published, and through my channels of getting them published, maybe I'll push them to my journals, my contacts, wherever the review process happens, and all that process happens. So I act as a mediator. I give them the idea. I ask them that, okay, this is the light that you have to follow, but who's the bridge? I am the bridge. So that is how I incorporate them into my research. I recently had a patent on my name with a couple of more academicians and research scholars. So I tell them about whatever is happening. They know about it. They want to know about it. They talk to me. They explore the discussions through my understanding, and then they also say, "Sir, ye kaise kar sakte hain? Can you tell us?" And then I tell them the method. So I'm the mediator. I'm the bridge between the light and the one who has actually initiated the thought process, and they can walk on my shoulder. That's how I do it.
Okay, your next question is, can you explain your approach to publishing your research and cooperating with colleges?
See, what happens is not a lot of colleges, but certainly I'm working with one university these days, so I will be affiliated to that university. Uh, this year, I'll tell you, I have handsome, not very handsome. I could have been better in numbers. I have five plus publications, including publications of research papers plus patent, that is six, and a few more into process. So the first thing is to be very patient, because what happens is, if you're putting a paper into a journal, you have to be ready to lose this part of your hair, because I have one paper which is long gone, 16 or 17 months, and I don't know what is going to happen to that paper. One we waited for 14 months, other one took 5 7 months or something. My approach is, you write quality, not quantity, right? You do not write quantity. You write 4 or 5 good papers, maybe in a year, a few for UGC, a few for review, and maybe one or two for Scopus, Web of Science, because that takes a lot of time. I told you, right? One is due for 17 long months, and I don't know what has happened to that paper, what will happen as well. So you identify what areas are you supposed to talk to or research onto. I do that every day. Again, the same journal, that brown journal. I identify it, write down it on my board, and start. Maybe it's January approaching, so I will have this by March ready. I also take care of conferences that are happening around, right? Wherever I can go as a research scholar, for that matter, or maybe as a academician for that matter, I go to them, because what happens, publishing there is a little easier. I'm not saying very easy. Good conferences which are Scopus listed or something, sorry, Scopus focus or something, or UGC cared, are difficult to publish. So I make paper on category A, that is for Scopus, Web of Science, or ABDC. I do not have any ABDC or Web of Science as of now, only Scopus. Two of them, that too this year. I think three of them, I will check my database. Number two, I prepare some review papers which are low quality, very low quality, but just for the sake of doing it, because what happens is sometimes you are finding a new idea. They can be sent to conferences, they can be sent to edited books, they can be sent to some other places where there's not a humongous requirement of a lot of quality for that matter. And number three, for institutional purposes. So that's how I do it, right? And in order to cooperate or collaborate with colleges, I have a lot of contacts. As I said, I'm into a lot of focus groups of research. So I know friends who can connect anytime, academicians who can connect anytime and cooperate in my paper. Because when you write it all alone, it's difficult. When 5 people write it with you, or maybe 2 3 people write it with you, it gets easier. So yeah, that's how I do it. Network is the net worth. The mantra is network is the net worth.
Okay, what methodologies do you have preferred to use in research and why?
Okay, wonderful question. So I first draw the conclusions. I'm a little mad on that note. I draw conclusions first. What could happen, right? I am a very big explorer of things, because many of my researches that I have published or put for the last 2 years are more of exploratory nature, more of qualitative nature, and mixed method researches, right? Mixed method research means, or MMR as we say, where you amalgamate more than two research methodologies, and like quantitative, qualitative, and then you also bring a new sort of form, maybe where you are preparing a hypothesis of something, and you are drawing you're doing some test, you're drawing ANOVAs, those who understand statistics. I believe both of you are management background, so you understand it very well. So I incorporate a little less numbers, I believe, in exploring newer ideas. So my approach is, number one, explore. Number two, mix methods. And number three, Number three is qualitative. Number three is qualitative. Mixed method has statistics, so I use that as a part of my research. Number one, exploratory has largely empirical, historical, as well as a new kind of suggestions for the future generation. Number three, as I said, qualitative. Qualitative consists of more of only written material. So I follow these three approaches for my research, and I have been successful in penning them down rather into my researches so far. So yeah, these three I have been exploring. Let's see how it goes for the next 3 years where my PhD is going on. Yeah.
What are your plans for future research project?
Really want me to answer that question? That's a very secretive question, but yeah, you can go to my Google Scholar in a couple of months and see, or maybe people can go to my website, which is getting relaunched very soon. You'll see a lot of technology in terms of helping people, that means in terms of academia, and that to women education, that to rural education, plus overall growth of Indian artificial intelligence, positive artificial intelligence environment. I'll not answer more than this because it will reveal a lot of secrets that I would not want you to know, but I have plans, some good number of plans. Yeah.
Okay, how do you think your research can impact the field or society?
It has been impacting, to be very honest. What happens is my personal researches are, as I told you, are for me a responsibility. Number two, fun. So whatever I have been working on is planned for the for the use of governments or for the use of researchers who are really trying to put their first step into research. uh, the reason is that people your and my age, which is not very different, we are all in our mid 20s, right, isn't it? Our age is not into research because what happens is research is understood or misunderstood as a boring task. So my contribution to the society is primarily bringing our country as a good quality research country. We publish a lot every year, but the number is still less. We publish a lot, but the quality is still low. So I told you, right, the day we start segregating things, as I said, A, B, C, or whatever the D, E, F of every researcher is, and we come out of that mindset कि चलो केवल अप्रेजल और पैसे या बोनस के लिए ही करना है, we will see quality research. And the more youth you see doing research has started uh, coming up with greater research and better. And recently I read that our research indices globally have started to improve. So my impact is largely on the society's that particular section that requires a lot of understanding in simpler language. And one more thing, shout out to the Indian government. They have given one nation one subscription recently, which is going to be a huge help of 6,000 crore budget. And now every academician I have been paying to access a lot of research will be largely free for us. And one more thing, to impact society, you need to connect to more people. Like today, I'm connected to Reema ji and Pooja ji. We are learning something from each other, and you will tell to the society maybe someday that okay, I saw a guy same age, he's been working for quite some time now, and he has done research into this. And I'll tell my people that okay, I met two wonderful women working with Shravanji, and they are doing this. So this is a part of your research and my research that we've been doing. So that's how it is going to impact the society at large. Yeah.
Okay, your next question is how do you stay motivated in your research when facing setbacks or challenges?
Until I'm not dead, there's no setback. Until I'm not dead, there's no setback. Until something I'm getting oxygen, I'm all right. I fear no setbacks. Yeah, Yeah, there are days when you're down, but what I tell myself, I'll tell you, there's this very interesting quote that I told myself. It's written there. I again wish I could have shown. I say this to myself: a genius is a conscious and a silent idiot. And I don't forget who stands behind me. That is the supreme power, Paramatma. So wherever I feel like okay, this is a setback, I recently had a couple of such setbacks. I said, "चल कोई बात नहीं, आगे देखते हैं क्या करना है." What happens if there is one door closed and there is no door made for me? I have taught this to myself for the last 16 years, 16 that I will make one for myself. I am not going to stop. Like for this new institution that I've joined, Arkajan University, very supportive people. I'm not saying this because they will see this, but Shravanji is the one who will be correcting me, not correcting me, rather correlating with me. That I have not published any publication with them right now. I am working on a couple of them, but the the ideation for research is so much so that you never feel demotivated. And as I said, until I'm not dead, I am motivated. That's about it. I just work. I love to work.
Okay, how do you mentor students who are interested in pursuing research?
Mentoring, okay, wonderful. The first thing that you do for a student to be mentored for the sake of research is to understand, are they really interested? Number two, what kind of areas are they interested into? And then see how's their intelligence quotient, right? What happens is you have to nobody is a born perfect. Maybe some people are, but you just tell them what to do. You give them a structure, and always whatever I do is structuring. I always tell them prepare a structure. I give them a structure. Okay, you do this, you scratch this. One of my students, she recently called me also. She said, "Sir, I'm working on this project. Suggest me how do I do." So the first thing I said to her in terms of mentoring her, I said, "See, make this the best ever thing that you have done." She said, "Yes, I want to do it. How do I do it?" I told her the structure of the research. And once the structure is clear, once your objective of what are you supposed to do is clear, like both of you and I, we all have a vision, isn't it? Tell me if I'm wrong. We have a vision for our lives, isn't it? Both the ladies here. We have a vision for life. So once the vision is clear and the structure is given, the backbone is given, you can now sit. And once you can sit, I will give the person the limbs to walk, and that is how I approach my students for research. I can guarantee you the next time you meet me, I can show you at least two projects, minimum two projects that my students have worked on, and they will be in public for the other students to be motivated. Where I was the one who first gave them an objective, and we collectively developed this thought that let's do something rocking, let's do something impressive for the world, and let's the word these days we use flex, let's flex, the Gen Z word that we use. My students, in order to be mentored, I only do one thing: I give them the structure, the objective, and rest they do it themselves. And after that, I am there to shape the ghada, as in mold the ghada, as in when required. That's how I do it. Yeah.
Okay, moving ahead, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to Mr. BC Anant, Assistant Professor, Arka Jain University, for being our guest for today at Conversation with Consultants. Your presence and engagement helped to make it a success. Thank you for providing insight into your inspirational journey. Thank you, Mr. Anant.
Thank you very much to both the ladies, and I have been I've been a little off and on in terms of communicating back, and I apologize for that. And thanks to Shravanji and to your former associates that I have been known to. And trust me, one thing I would convey. I know you guys are getting late for to return back to your places, but you both come from the same state, most likely where I also come from, if I'm not wrong. and I am very happy to see daughters, sisters, and friends from the same state of Jharkhand and Bihar doing such good job. And thanks to Shravanji and people like him who are actually pushing his friends, batchmates, classmates, to get up, rise up, and do stand on their own feet. So please do not leave this, whatever you're doing, wherever you go in future. Also, my good wishes to both the ladies, brilliant ladies, and to the vision of Shravanji and people like him. Thank you for having me. And if you don't mind, just share the screenshot or whatever the stream would be. I'll be more than happy to share it with my team, my students, and the people out there. Thank you very much for having me, both the ladies. Thank you.
Further, we could also like to thank our audience for listening patiently throughout the event. Thank you everyone for joining us with today and hope that everyone has gained some knowledge from this event. Looking ahead, we are excited to announce that our next episode 33 conversation with consultants will be held next weekend with Ayush Kumar. We hope to see you all there. Thank you again and we look forward to reconnecting with you next week. Do subscribe to your YouTube channel and follow us all social media handles to stay connected with us. Goodbye and have a great day ahead. Thank you a lot.
Okay.